as we turn our focus to Europe now in this coronavirus story. Talking about France for a moment, the entire population is under virtual house arrest right now. The President, Emmanuel Macron, addressing the nation yesterday, and this is what he said: we are at war, a public health war, certainly, but we are at war against an invisible and elusive enemy. He's locked down the country pretty much for at least 15 days, and the border with Spain a focal point because Spain's cases are skyrocketing, now the fourth country, or the country with the fourth largest number of cases of coronavirus. There is a great deal of unease and uncertainty in Europe right now. EU officials, in fact, are set to make a significant decision about foreign travel. We are awaiting a vote on non-essential travel, taking it right off the table. Let's go to our Briar Stewart, who's in London for us this morning with the latest details about the EU decision. Good morning, Briar.
Good morning, Heather. Yes, there is so much uncertainty here because, of course, Europe is at the epicenter of this outbreak at the moment. And really, the changes are happening just so quickly. As you mentioned, the European Commission is calling for a temporary ban on all non-essential travel within the EU. So that would be people traveling within, back and forth between the 26 different countries. But of course, a lot of countries aren't waiting for that, and they've already tightened up their border controls and in some cases have restricted travel just to citizens and diplomats and those that need to go in for a justified reason. On top of that, France President Emmanuel Macron had confirmed that as of noon today, the external borders of the EU are going to be closed, except for, again, letting citizens and those with the justified reason to come in. And really, this is happening as all countries are trying to roll out restrictive measures, urging people to stay home, and in some cases, forcing them to stay inside. And that's the case in France. At first, Macron had told the population to stay inside, but what had happened was people were not doing that. There were a lot of images and video of people outside on the river, enjoying a sunny day, people out at cafes, and even though they were ordered to be closed. So what's happening now is that Macron and the government of France, they have deployed 100,000 police officers throughout the country to enforce this lockdown. So that's the picture there. In Germany, Germany has started a massive operation to return thousands of German citizens who are stranded abroad because of the coronavirus back home. That's underway right now. And really, you have all of these different countries across Europe trying to figure out just how to slow down the spread of the virus. And as they do that, people are being really forced into their homes as all of these restrictive measures are rolled out.
Briar, let's turn to the government right there where you are in the UK, the government of Boris Johnson. The Prime Minister has been criticized for reacting slowly to this public health threat, but now he is giving briefings and talking about a suppression strategy. What's happening where you are?
And yes, and that suppression strategy is quite an abrupt change from what the government had originally signaled it was going to do. What's happening now is that the UK government has urged people to avoid pubs and theaters and restaurants. So even though there are some still open this morning, a lot of them have closed because people have been told to stay away. And really, the Prime Minister has said that what's happening now and what he's urging people to do is unlike anything we've seen in our lifetimes. Here's what Prime Minister Boris Johnson had to say.
I can't remember anything like it in my lifetime. I don't think there's really been anything like it in peacetime. And we have to accept that it's a very considerable psychological, behavioural change that we're asking the public, the nation to do. But I've absolutely no doubt that we can do it, that we can do it together. Everybody understands the need to do it, and that, as I said earlier on, that our economy will eventually bounce back.
And in terms of asking people to avoid all-essential contact, this is far from a short-term fix or a solution, because what government officials say is that these measures could be in place until at least July, Heather.
Briar, thank you so much. Watching the London and UK and European scene for us, our Briar Stewart.